variety of views on this topic as well. For many evangelicals who have concerns about what is being taught in our schools, it has to do not just with what theories are presented, but the interpretations that go with those theories. So that if I send my children to school and they're going to be taught, among other things, that really there is no God, I'm concerned about that, even if I might not be so concerned about the scientific theories. If we need to start to have a theological wrap around that, that does become concerning part of it.
And when we did, I can't remember whether I mentioned at the beginning, Lizzie, but our research team also did 315 in-depth interviews, 142 of which were with evangelicals. And what Galen is saying is borne out in the data, that there's a sense that there's a lot more at stake when we start talking about the evolution issue than just whether or not we get a question right on a science test. That there's larger issues of meaning in faith. This also speaks about relationship to the broader scientific community. Evangelicals may appreciate science, but think that scientists are not always friendly to that of their community. And so I think that's an important distinction and something that an organization like the AAAS can really, that cares about science for the public good, can really get at training scientists to think through how they approach a religious faith, perhaps starting by realizing that there are religious purpose among their men. There's a place to start with that, but certainly there's a lot of room there to think through how we can have creative dialogue for the sake of everyone's good.
So we have a question from Amit about some kind of the different methodologies behind religion and behind science. So he proposes that scientific theory, the point of it is that it's always subject to scrutiny, and religious beliefs are not necessarily. And do you think that those differences in how science and religion are kind of done, or at least the perception of how they're done, is that an accurate perception? Like, does religious belief, is science more open to questioning than religion? And if so, does that impede collaboration in some way?
Well, I would very much, question the presumption in the question that religion is not tested, science is. I think both are tested. The Psalm says, taste and see that the Lord is good. And in fact, religious claims are tested every day by believers and unbelievers. Are exploring the meaning of their relationship with God or the supernatural, and there are just different tools that help us to test those claims than we use in science, and it wouldn't be appropriate to take out a measuring tape to try to measure God.
And Galen, you talked a little bit about how sometimes the loudest voices in the room in this debate in particular are not always most helpful or productive. What would both of you and Jennifer too have to say about what are some of the ways we can increase the softer voices? The voices that are already might be more open to collaboration but don't already, maybe don't know how to do it, or a little hesitant because it seems like such a contentious field, and if if you want to collaborate, it doesn't seem like a great place, if the debate is so heated already. What can we do to increase the power, if not the volume, the power and the impact of those softer voices in this conversation?
It's a really hard road. I mean, radical reconciliation doesn't sell, right? And so there's a kind of propensity, for whatever reason, towards this conflict narrative. But hopefully with this collaboration between Rice and AAAS, and then all that AAAS is going to continue to do, you'll just think of saying, oh, it's not you, that's not really fair. We'll start to think of collaboratively some ways to get religious leaders together and religious congregants and scientists from different religious backgrounds and no religious unit together to really talk through issues. I do think that there's some merit, as we talked about today in our broader session, in starting with some issues where there's some real agreement first, and then once we establish and real relational, real relationships, then we can go forward with some of the much harder issues and talking about our differences in thoughtful ways.
So send your text to AAAS.
Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Sure, I think most scientists are sort of busy at the bench doing their science, so they're not used to talking about these broader issues of how science fits into society and so forth. So I think one thing we as scientists can do is try to learn how better to talk about not only the science results that we're getting, but why they should be important and of interest to broader society, and being careful to differentiate when we're talking about the things that science can tell us and the kinds of bigger questions that science isn't well equipped to address on its own. So I think for scientists, first of all, recognizing what kinds of questions science can address better is helpful. And also, I think people in the public are interested in the science, but they're also interested in scientists and understanding how we can connect on a human level. And scientists are not well known for being great socialites, but one thing scientists I think can do is be more communicative about their lives as a whole. What do they value? What is their particular cultural heritage and so forth? How do they become interested in science? How does it fit into their larger worldview, their philosophy? And I think that helps people connect with scientists on a more human level, and that opens a better portal also just for science results to reach a broader swath of the public.
And we talked a little bit before about how the survey defines the scientist and how it's quite a bit broader than a lot of other research that has been done on this issue before. So how does it, do you think if expanding, and the definition, I think a lot of people have a perception of scientists as, old men who work at Harvard, who never leave their lab and don't get out and sit there and talk to the community, and when they do, don't make any sense. So how do you think that not only changing the definition of scientist in a survey like this, but do you think it would be important to change the definition of scientist in the society as a whole? Do you think if more people had a more inclusive idea of what it meant to be a scientist, do you think that would allow for, it would make collaboration with other groups easier going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way to catch the viewers on, the way that we define the scientist for the purpose of the survey is looking at occupational groups according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is a national group that classifies American occupations, very well-respected group. And so we looked at individuals in science-related occupations. So you might say that you're in some of these science-related occupations, say in medicine. You might put down as your occupational classification, but really you are a hospital administrator, someone who works around science that isn't a scientist. We went one step further and we asked them for self-classification. You find yourself as a scientist, and then we also thought that you need to have at least some level of science training in order to be a scientist. So we want to make sure they have at least a bachelor's degree. So that allows a broad swath of people to be considered as working scientists. And you first of all think they're scientists. They're all in science-related occupations. 20% of them do teach in colleges and universities, but then the rest do not. They're people who are, say, working in technical medical research or working in medicine or, working at the bench in research and development for a corporation. And so those persons map on to the American population in a way that's a bit more religiously similar than the kind of stereotype of the man at Harvard you described, Lizzie. Those persons are still out there. I mean, those are scientists too, right? And this does describe a portion of the population, but if we describe the population a little bit better, I think we'll also be able to have a little bit better connection to a broader group of people in American society. Just as stories that we've done or research that we've seen on gender in science shows that if women who go into science classes see a woman teaching a science class or thinking that, I can do this too, if kids in congregations think that someone in their congregation is actually a living, breathing scientist and has found a way to do that, then they might feel like that occupation is more accessible to them.
And if they think that it's thinkable to consider those vocations because it doesn't mean that you're going to become an arrogant.
fairly specific question from Raman. Was there, this is for Elaine, I suppose, was there a question in your survey regarding the end of days scenario? We'd like to know.
There wasn't, but really hard choices when you do survey research. They talk about it as limited real estate. So you have to choose. We did ask, over 75 questions. It was 25-minute survey, which is about the max that you can give a person and expect them to take it. So unfortunately, we didn't ask that question. But I think we only analyzed about 6 questions from the survey for this presentation today at the AAA Ask, and you can expect a lot more out of our research group and out of this cooperative relationship with the AAA Ask. So not that question, but hopefully lots more you'll find exciting.
And he also would like to know what the opinions of the three of you are about how to jointly use religion and science for the sake of peace and security in the world. So you hear a lot about these. There's so many conflicts. He brings up particularly Syria and other large-scale armed conflicts that may or may not have, some kind of religious component to them or, religious connection. And you don't hear a lot about science in that, but how do you think that science and religion can work together to increase peace and security?
That's a really broad question. So, I'll take a really quick stab at it, and others will perhaps have more thoughtful responses. But I do think that sometimes, when you think about the places that are most conflict-ridden, sometimes those are places of great societal inequality. And I do think that religious people and scientists, who are religious or not, have in common that appreciation for trying to work towards an elimination of broad global inequality. And I mentioned before things like food insecurity and just general economic development. Science has contributed enormously to alleviating some of that. And religious people also are on the ground. And so that's a real area of common interest.
Before coming to DNA, I had the privilege to spend about 25 years doing international humanitarian work. And I lived in several countries that were just emerging from wars. And Elaine's absolutely right that you see in these places, many times there are issues. There's always some natural resource constraints that are often exacerbated by poor environmental policies. And then you have poverty and you have food shortages. And many times there's a role for science. It takes more than science for sure, but science does have a role to play in contributing solutions. Now we have to also remember that every innovation has a shadow side. So sometimes we get these bright ideas and then we find out that they have unintended consequences. So we need to be thoughtful and cautious about how we intervene in places around the world where there are major problems, because the problems took a long time to develop and they're probably not going to solve overnight, but there's definitely things that science properly applied can do.
Jennifer?
Sure, I think there are many areas that are ripe for cooperation between scientists and religious communities around the world to better the lives of people, and in fact, not just of people, but of all life on the planet. And this is because the science can provide us information, can help us understand the reality of what's going on with the environment, for example, or how to grow better crops, or how to find fresh water supplies, or even how to lift the human spirit by doing basic research and basic exploration studies. But it requires people to actually be the portal for that information and to make it, to put it into practice. And many people around the world are involved in religious belief and religious communities, and those communities can often benefit by scientific knowledge to put into practice their values, which can include environmental stewardship. It can include desiring to uplift the poor, to provide food and water, to provide a positive vision. And I think in this sense, if scientists can provide scientific information, be it very practical information, on how we can improve life on a daily basis, or be it the more basic studies we're doing about our place in the universe. All of this, I think, is a benefit to people around the world in all kinds of situations.
먹으면